Is Red Bull paying you guys?
We got the 93 kilo superstar in the house, Gavin Adin. How's it going, Gavin?
I am very, very good, and I want to just say before we kick things off, I'm very grateful that you guys are setting this up. I'm pretty sure we got to be like the only federation doing this, right? Yeah, so that's pretty cool. We're setting a precedent, and I like that. So thank you for having me here.
Well, we're the only federation with superstars like you, so that's what we got to give you the superstar treatment.
I don't think I deserve that yet. Oh, yeah, I wanted to know because we've got these Red Bull cans here. Are they paying you guys? What's going on? What's the contract like?
Well, not yet, but why don't you get on it?
What are we talking about? Why are they on the table then?
You're the contract
You're giving
guy.
them free. Why would they pay you if you're going to give them free advertising? No.
Well, this is just a taste.
Oh, is that it? Just a taste. I like that. Just a taste. Crack it open. Take a sip. That's it, baby.
Exactly. Yeah, the first IPF Worlds is free. The next one's going to cost. So, Gavin, exactly how many ships have you burned, my friend?
As many as there are. I burned my ships. As I said in that SBD interview, I've burned the ships of my enemies as well as my competitors. We're going all in, and I want them to go all in because I want to face their best. That's what this is about.
And what do you think makes you different than your competitors?
That's a great question. I think I don't really care about the sport of powerlifting the way that other athletes do, or I guess I should say I don't love the sport in the way that other athletes do. I love the art of strength. I love the art of becoming the best in your craft and mastering your craft. And my chosen craft, at least as of right now, is strength. And I felt the best way to express that was in the sport of powerlifting. But there could have been any other vehicle to becoming the best. That was always the goal, was to become the best. It's not necessarily that I grew up powerlifting and just loved the squat, bench, and deadlift so much and loved competing so much in the sport that I just had to do it. I have friends, and I'm not going to speak on behalf of my competitors because I don't know a lot of them too well, but I do have friends who they will do this until they die. My goal is to push the limits of this sport by pushing my own limits, So I have a love for becoming the best and a love for exhibiting strength, not necessarily the sport. So I'd assume that might be something that differentiates us.
And I mean, that's how you got into the sport. But now that you've been around the block a few times, this is your second World Championships. You were at Sheffield. Have you started to fall in love with the sport at all?
I've fallen in love with the journey. I've fallen in love with the process, with the grind. As anyone would who's pursuing something, worthy of being talked about, of greatness. To say I've fallen in love with the sport, I think I know the sport, now. I've basically become the sport, it's pretty much all I think about because it's all I can think about. And so to that degree, I think I've grown, my appreciation for the sport has definitely increased. But really the love that exists is more so just in the journey of trying to become the best in the world.
And, you said you're grown and you've evolved in the sport. Are you approaching this competition differently than you approached Sheffield or even the World Championships last year?
The way that I approach Sheffield is pretty much exactly how I'm approaching this competition. The way that I approached South Africa World Championship, my first Open World Championship, is completely different than how I'm approaching this championship. The two are very different. And that's actually one of the major reasons why I think I've been able to make progress since South Africa Worlds, is because I have switched that mental approach. But yeah, I mean, it's all about going in, going all in. You want to be smart and you want to be strategic, but you can't allow being smart and strategic to limit you and put a governor on the engine, so to speak. You have to be powerful, and you have to be strong. And I think that no great feat was ever accomplished without taking risks. They can be calculated, but they still have to be taken.
So, I mean, you said that you were going to approach this differently than South Africa and the same as Sheffield. What is the difference?
Well, for Sheffield, for example, I detached myself from the outcome quite a bit. I stopped caring so much about whether or not I would win or lose. I stopped caring so much about what other people thought, the noise. And I started caring more about giving everything I have to it. And I knew that if I trusted in my potential and I trusted in God and his plan for me, then I would achieve great things. And so it lies in the trust. And so if I start to worry about outcomes, then that's a reflection of my lack of trust. So if I truly do believe in myself, and I have faith, then the actual the showing of that, right? The result of that is the outcome itself. So I just have to apply the trust in the face. And so that means it's really just about giving everything you have. If you give everything you have, then the outcome will be what you deserve, what you've earned. You know, you don't have to worry about the outcome so much. Whereas if you don't trust, now all of a sudden it's like, oh man, I really hope I place first. I really hope I place, so that was probably the biggest mental switch.
So going into Sheffield, you looked the strongest you'd ever been. Obviously, you took a shot at the world record squat. You hit a big deadlift PR with like noticeably more in the tank. Since Sheffield, you haven't been posting as much of your training as you have in the past. First off, just how's training going in general leading into Worlds?
Yeah, I feel very strong. I mean, it's not on purpose. Honestly, I've just kind of been like off social media a little bit more. I filmed some videos here and there, but, really my focus has just been more on, we're revamping the entire site for my business and some of the product offerings and stuff. So we're restructuring that whole thing. And I've partnered with a really strong developer too, and we have a good relationship. And also actually my coach is going to be collaborating on some of the programming that we're going to offer and stuff. So it's been a lot of focus on that. And then also a lot of focus obviously on my training itself, so I've kind of taken a little bit of a step back, not intentionally from social media. But yeah, I'm not the type to like hide training videos and stuff. The numbers are the fucking numbers, and at the end of the day, if you're stronger, you'll win, so that's how I view it. But training's strong. I mean, I guess the best way to put it is out of all of the times I've competed for a world championship, and so far this will be the third, this is the most prepared I've ever been to win.
That's right, I forgot the junior world championships.
Yes.
So at this Worlds, you're facing a lot of tough competition, but Keiko, who you've battled with numerous times, you just battled with him at Sheffield last year at Worlds, at Nationals in Daytona. Do you view him as your biggest competition?
No, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I view myself as my biggest competition. I only have maybe 2 opponents, and I think people get this wrong in this sport. And maybe this is a little controversial, but myself and the weight. That's it, right? That's who I'm battling against. There is nothing that Jonathan or Emil or Gustav, all these very strong elite level athletes, arguably the best in the world, right? Even better than me. There's nothing they can do. There is nothing that they can physically do in this. This is not the UFC, right? So the only thing that can stop me from accomplishing my goals is myself. Simply not being strong enough, not having the mental game sharp, right? So I have to battle myself and I have to battle the weight. If I can successfully battle myself, the battle with the weight gets easier. It's that simple. So although they are my competitors, so to speak, at the end of the day, this is a numbers game, and if I was competing by myself alone in a room, you would take that total and compare it to the next person who's competing by themselves alone in a room, right? And that's kind of like the beauty of this sport. So no, I don't really see, all these guys as like enemies or like opponents like that or competitors. Who I'm battling is really just myself and the weight on the bar.
So for squats, I assume obviously you will be making a run at the squat world record. In the past, you've said things like you want to push way past, push through all your limits as much as it's there. Are you going to place, like, I know you want to put up the best performance ever, but you also want to win world championships. Are you going to take attempts to just with the goal? Is your number one goal just to win? Is that your number one goal?
It's funny. I don't really understand why everybody thinks these two things are mutually exclusive. Like, it's blowing my fucking mind. Like, everybody's been saying that. Oh, well, you can either go above and beyond or you can win. I don't think, and this is what sucks right now about a lot of the classes in this sport. We have a handful, and it's getting better. We have a handful that are deep and competitive, meaning there's multiple athletes. There's more than just 2 that are highly competitive, right? Or even, honestly, more than just 1 would be great. When you have more than enough athletes who could win, you're going to have to go above and beyond. So I think I appreciate that people think that I can just kind of go in, be quote unquote conservative, maybe tap the world record and be fine and win. But I think we're not giving enough credit to Jonathan, to Emil, to Gustav, to Sasha, to all these other lifters, right? Because if we give them the credit they deserve, that means I'm going to have to push way beyond the world record to win, right? So I don't think the two are mutually exclusive. That said, of course, I care about winning, but really what I care about is being the best. And to me, being the best means a lot more than just winning. There are a lot of lifters, and no disrespect to them, but there's a lot of lifters who do the minimum necessary to win, right? And so because of that, I think their total reflects something that's not actually their potential. They could do so much more, but they don't need to, so why would they? I don't necessarily agree with that philosophy.
Do you think that if you don't miss lifts, then you're not trying hard enough and you're not going all out?
No.
Do you think that you have to miss to prove?
Not at all.
Okay. So,
Not at all. No, I think in fact the best scenario is you went all out and got 9 for 9, right? And part of going all out successfully means going 9 for 9, right? It's almost like if anybody does like curls or tricep extension, anything but squat, bench, and deadlift, and you train to failure, right? There's failure and then there's technical failure. And one of the things we really want to do is train to technical failure, right? We don't want to get injured. And we don't want such bad form that we're not even hitting the target muscle, right? But we want to train to the point of failure where it's that fine line of, okay, this was the last rep I could do successfully while still hitting the muscle properly and not getting hurt, not compromising my form. It's a lot like that with the attempt selection, I believe.
And, at Sheffield, your third squat was right at the borderline on depth, and you got 2 white lights, and then it got overturned. Have you done anything with your technique to ensure that you're going to get 3 white lights on your third squat at this competition?
Yeah, we've definitely made some adjustments. I've switched the squat shoes I use. Technique-wise, I've made some small adjustments as well, some small tweaks. And, I think that at the end of the day, it's going to come down to who can descend the fastest and slam into the hole and try and maximize that stretch reflex. I think the judging is very strict. And I think that, especially with my body and my leverages, it can be difficult to have very, very convincing depth. A lot of times when I hit that hole, especially like I did at Sheffield, my hips will lock up. I can't go deeper, And so really it comes down to how can I physically adjust my position to go deeper. The downside is that some of those adjustments leave me more vulnerable to injury. So it's finding that balance. But yeah, I believe that we're in a position where, we'll be able to successfully squat in a world record attempt or more. And I have no option, right? I mean, it doesn't really matter what changes I've made. If I want to win, then that's what I'll have to do. So,
And what is your opinion on challenging lifts?
I said it in, I think it was 2019 Raw Nationals, I think that was, or 2020, something like that. And I still stand by what I said. If you protest another lifter's lift, I think it's a bitch move. And of course I do still stand by that. But again, I recognize that it's part of the rules and it's totally okay. Like I get it. And there's a lot of coaches, if not all of them, that feel like it's strategic. It's a game. And the thing is, powerlifting is so simple that we have to find a way to make it complicated. We have to find a way to be like, oh no, but it's more complicated than just there's lot numbers and there's this and that. Squat, bench, and deadlift. Yeah. Do it to a high standard and be strong. That's simple. And so because I'm in this sport to be the strongest, that's where the disconnect is. I think a lot of coaches, are in this game and a lot of athletes are in this game to be the best power lifter. I'm in this to be the strongest, right? And so it's a little bit different. But yeah, no, I definitely still do stand by that. And I do think that it's, for me, it just runs a little bit deeper. I'm a little old school when it comes to things like honor and kind of like going out on your shield, so to speak. And I do feel that if you have to take something away from a lifter in order for your lifter to win, then I think that's not the strong move.
So to follow up, we've got the U.S. team coaches here in the room. Do you want them to protest other people's lifts?
No, I do not. I mean, that is, look, and I recognize that that's a threat. That's 100% of vulnerability. But you have to stand by what you say. And even if a piece of me feels like, man, dude, I could have won had we just protested, I'm I feel definitely happier with myself. I can go to bed and sleep at night knowing I lost as a result of sticking by what I stand for and what I say, than knowing that I, won simply because again, so we protest the lifters lift, right? And that's what it came down to. And I straight up was not strong enough. We had to take something away. To me, it's like I know that I wasn't the strongest on the platform. And I know everybody says, look, the world championship is everything. That's what people remember. I'm going to be honest with you. The only world champions I know are my friends. And I don't even know how many they've won. Taylor is a very good friend of mine. I have no idea how many he's won. He could have won 10 for all I know, right? Russ, same thing, but arguably one of the best and biggest powerlifters in the country, let alone the world, right? I have no idea how many he's won. And so is it really the titles that we remember? I mean, there's a million different weight classes and divisions, and I don't know. I think it's really the legacy that you leave, and that's something different, man. That's the character of the individual. That's the brand of the individual, And so that's what I push more than I do, let's say like the title and stuff. The title used to mean a lot to me. Now it's more of like a reflection of my work.
And you are the junior world champion.
Yeah. I mean, it's just juniors, but yeah, junior world champion. And
I mean, and obviously the coaches aren't gonna listen to that. They're gonna protest the lifts if they see something that's close.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, I think the U.S. coaches are in a tricky spot because we do have 2 American lifters. They're very, very good at what they do, and they're very seasoned. And this is not the first time they've had to deal with that, so I'm sure they have a system for that. The other thing too is like people forget we're not the only people battling. Like there are other coaches who could protest, and let them do it. Again, for me personally, especially if it's something that if you trust me as a lifter, and this is kind of like the other part of it too, and it comes back to like the whole be conservative game day strategy. If you believe in me and you trust me, then listen to me. If you don't and you go against what I'm saying, it shows you don't trust me. And it's not that I require you to trust me, but if we're on a team, motherfucker, like we're on a team, right? So if you, and I hate to use this word because it's not like this. So you're not working for me. We're working together. And honestly, I feel like a handler's job is way more intense than an athlete's job. I have to lift 9 times. They got to take care of the weights, the actual attempt selection, everything. But at the end of the day, we have a goal, right? And I'm the one who's put in the hours. I'm the one who's put up the money to be here. I'm the one who's bled, sweat, cried. Like I've gone through the ringer for this moment. So if I tell you that I take this very seriously and I do not appreciate it if you do that and you decide to do it anyway, I will be upset. I will understand it, but I will be very upset.
But it's something we can agree to disagree on, right?
Well, I mean, under the context, like if another coach protests my lift, as they usually do, then yeah, of course I agree to disagree. It's fine. If your lifter isn't strong enough to beat me outright, that's okay. It's
a difference of perspectives, as opposed to an insult to your character.
Well, no. See, if it's a coach on my team and I say specifically, hey man, look, I feel very strongly about this. I've been outspoken about this. It looks very bad on me, especially. If my brand is this is not what we do, and then you do this, that is a poor reflection of me. So you've made a decision to now create a poor reflection of me. So that's not a perspective understanding. That's a very personal thing. If I've specifically asked you, nobody has a gun to your head says you better protest this kid's lift. Otherwise I'm pulling the trigger. So.
Okay, couple last wrap up questions.
Yep.
How's a body weight situation right now?
It's good.
I know I saw at Sheffield you were in the sauna all night.
Yeah, I love it so much. I might as well put a bed in there, honestly.
Have you checked out the sauna here and everything?
I have not, but I really should. You brought up a great point, just in case.
Because we definitely remember the horror stories from USVI Nationals.
Oh, dude, that was horrible. That was horrible.
Yeah.
That was brutal. I mean, I would have that wasn't just brutal. That was defeating. That was morally defeating. We tried so hard. But, weight's fine. It's actually better than it was at Sheffield. For whatever reason, my best meets have come after like the worst cuts, like in the sauna and stuff. I believe a lot of it is up here. And I'm very lucky. Kedrick is my nutrition coach, and his recomp method is just on point every time. And so I have faith in that. I trust his method, and what he says goes. That's what I do. So we have a pretty good strategy when it comes to that. Yeah, and I've got a great team in the warm-up room who can watch, keep an eye on things, how things are moving and stuff. So all in all, we should be set.
All right. Any final thoughts that you want to say to the fans out there, the Gavin Adin fans that are looking forward to this performance at the World Championships?
I really would like to thank everyone for supporting me, honestly. I don't see myself as any different than anybody else. And a lot of times I see myself as extraordinarily average, And so I truly do believe, and I don't say this to bullshit anybody, I truly do believe we are each capable of great fucking things. And I think the average person is capable of way more than I am. And that's saying a lot because I know what I'm capable of, and I'm capable of a fucking lot. And that's, I think the difference is sacrifice and hard work and having that vision and truly believing in that vision. Yeah, and so I think the biggest thing is, one, thank you, but two, go get yours. Like, go all in. There's no need to watch from the sidelines. There's plenty of people who already do that. Get into the arena. Get uncomfortable. Like, that's what this is about. It's about becoming the best at what you do, not for anybody else, but for yourself. You have something to prove to yourself, especially because you do have the potential to do it. That is a fact. So if anything, thank you, and go get yours.
All right, man. We'll leave it there. We're looking forward to seeing what you do out there on the platform. And thank you for giving us your time. And, we're really proud of you, and we support you no matter the outcome.
Absolutely. Likewise. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Gavin always brings the heat.
Yeah. Was that too much, too little?
We could talk for like another hour, bro.
Yeah, I'm too much. I try and
You got rolling. You started off, you're like mellow, and then boom.
I give some sound bites and then I try and reel back.